All right, Zach. So it's been a while since I've actually gone through and read and read an Unearthed Arcana because normally I've just been getting updates from you guys since I have such a busy schedule. But this time I did myself a favor since my boys are in this one and I read over what monks and rogues can do. I also watched XP to level 3 talk about the UA on his channel. So I've got a rough understanding of what this one's all about. And I like a lot of it, and then a lot of it I'm like, okay.
Yeah, that's fair. So we're going to go ahead and get right into it. Today it's just you and me, Seth. So welcome back to Table Talk Friday, a D&D podcast. I'm Zach Carvon. I'm joined by my one best friend, Seth Pittman.
Woo,
and today we're talking again about the new Unearthed Arcana Player's Handbook 6 that dropped for One D&D not too long ago. The survey for that will be dropping on July 20th, so keep on the lookout for that. It should be fairly close to dropping when this episode goes up. But anyway, a lot of stuff covered here. Obviously, we haven't had the chance to talk with you about monks yet, so we can go over the highlights there.
I mean, I can just give you my surface level thoughts.
Yeah, absolutely. But we definitely went into them in detail on the last episode, so check that out if you haven't yet.
Yeah, so as far as the new monks go, big fan. Only because one, damage dice upgraded. Heck yeah. So okay, I'm gonna tell you the one thing I hate.
Okay.
The one thing,
I think I know exactly what you're gonna say.
The one thing I hate is the naming convention.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Warrior of the Hand, Warrior of Shadow, please. Way of the Open Hand, Way of Shadow. I think it's a lot cooler, and I like the we're talking about their discipline, right? Like what their martial. If we're gonna change key points to discipline, yuck. If we're gonna do that, then we got to keep Way of the Open Hand because it's like your martial discipline, the thing you follow. Now you're not always a warrior in that way, okay? And I don't know. The naming convention kind of makes me want to throw up a little bit, but it's okay because it doesn't change anything gameplay wise. And yeah, discipline points, yucky. Key points.
I'll tell you what I told Drew on the last episode, and I think this is a calculated decision because ever since the monk has been a thing in D&D, there have been like hardcore fantasy nerds that get upset about having anime characters who run around and punch shit next to knights in shining armor. So I think what they're trying to do here with discipline is divorce it from like specifically Eastern or like anime type terms like key, and they're making it more blanket applicable to okay, you can flavor this however you want. A monk is a warrior who uses their discipline.
I agree with you wholeheartedly in why they're doing it, but I want my anime boy.
Yeah, I mean that's entirely fair.
My anime boy uses life energy and ki, and he runs around expending this life energy like a martial artist.
Well, yeah, and I don't think I can get behind discipline points. I mean, it doesn't roll off the tongue like key points, and I hate that I'm gonna have to like write out the word discipline on my character sheet.
No, you're gonna write D points.
My D points. But that's really neither here nor there. I will agree with you that Way of Shadow or Way of the Four Elements works a lot better in my mind rather than Warrior. Just because it even applies if it's not an anime style character, right? Like this is the discipline that you've fallen under, is this way, this path to power,
Yeah, and so they have done something to make up for. I think they knew they were going to be saying this to me, because they did make up for it a little bit when they allowed me to catch firebolts now.
Yeah, so that's super cool. Their deflect energy is awesome. I wish they get it sooner. Honestly,
Yeah.
13th level's a little high, in my opinion.
So here's how I think about it in my headcanon, right? It takes a lot, like, it's not too hard to catch an object flying at you, but to stop a spell on its way to you is a lot. So I'm like, you got to really have control over that energy, I think the idea of that is just really cool. Like, the first time your monk who's been traveling for all this time with you catches a spell, you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, you know what? Maybe I would put it back at like 6th level with your key infused strikes, right? Now it's empowered strikes, but if you're doing magical damage with your fists. Now you've got like this aura of energy around them that's bypassing certain effects. I think that would be appropriate to be able to redirect at that point. So maybe not with 3rd level deflect missiles, but certainly not at 13th level. I mean, if a level 1 sorcerer is shooting their little rinky-dink firebolt at you, you should be able to bat that out of the way. At least, or you could even use your weapon or whatever to knock it out of the way,
Yeah, the idea of like catching a spell and like throwing it back, or like using your weapon mastery to like bat it back at someone sounds really cool to me.
Yeah, and I definitely think about it like Dragon Ball, of course. Where they'll shoot a blast at them and then just smack it out of the way, or even redirect it back at them. So super cool. I have to ask, how do you feel about Stunning Strike?
So you're gonna have to explain to me exactly what they changed in it. I haven't read through every detail.
Okay, so this is the one that everyone's pissed about online. So generally speaking, right, I do think the monk it's headed in the right direction. But I think they could even do to make it just a little bit more powerful. But all they did to Stunning Strike is they made it so that you can only do it once on a turn. So you can't apply it to all of your attacks.
Oh, no, I like that.
Yeah, and so I'm of two minds about it, right? Because on the one hand, yes, the monk, pound for pound is probably the weakest class compared to all the others now. But Stunning Strike was their one ultimately broken feature, especially in one-on-one fights. I mean, the DMs hate monks because they throw out one big monster, and then the monk just says, all right, well, I've got 5 key points, and I'm throwing them all one into Flurry of Blows, and the rest into Stunning Strike, and we're going to kill it in one round. I guarantee you. Yeah, no,
Stunning Strike is one of those things, like, I love Stunning Strike, but having your monk walk up and go, I'm going to do this, and I've got 2 levels in Action Surge, I'm going to use everything I have to stun this enemy. It takes a lot of the, like, thinking out of playing a monk, I think, where it's like, all right, like, your monk even, like, it does have a big toolkit if you build a monk well, I think.
Sure, and a lot of these subclasses give you good options, too.
Yeah, to where Stunning Strike was like, oh, every monk gets this, every monk uses it all the time. Like, because you get Stunning Strike, you start using it, you up your wisdom all the way as high as you can, make that DC as high as possible, and if you stun an enemy, the rest of your party can handle it.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with it being once a turn, because I think that makes it so you have to use everything else in your toolkit. Like, you're not just defaulting to your one cool ability.
Right. Well, and it's the monk is pretty much the only class that can force like multiple saves on the same turn. At least like in the base kit. I know there are some cheesy ways to get around that. But I'm just imagining the DM who burns all of their legendary resistance and starts making up more legendary resistances on the monster because the monk just keeps stunning striking them.
I also love the heightened metabolism feature. You spend 1 minute resting. It makes them literally an anime character only because, like, you watch an anime, the main character has hit 0 hit points. They are out. They're down for the fight, but they still stand back up. All of a sudden, they have a huge roar of energy and do it again. I think of it that way, where it's like, the power of friendship. I'm still going to overcome this heightened metabolism. You use it, get a short rest, and now you can fight again.
For sure. And even in that same vein, Drew didn't really like their new 20th level feature, Defy Death, but it's that exactly. When you drop to 0 hit points, you spend 4 key points, and then you get a number of health back equal to 4 rolls of your martial arts die. So 4d12 hit points, and then the cost increases each time you do this. So you could theoretically keep coming back and fighting if you can restore those key points. Yeah,
I like that. I'm a big fan. So overall, I think we've got an improved monk here. I think we get a net positive out of negatives. Though, yeah, I could see some things being changed, but I do think this is far more balanced compared to what I think everything else we've seen in the rest of Unearthed Arcana so far.
Yeah, honestly, if this made it to print in its current state, I wouldn't be in love with it. Especially, and we won't go into the nitty gritty on monks, because if you want to hear about monks, you can listen to our last episode. But some of the subclasses I do think need some retweaking. Way of the Hand definitely got got some heavy
I think
nerfs
you
that
mean
I'm not
Warrior
happy
of the
with.
Hand.
Yeah, Warrior of the Hand. So now their open hand technique that used to just automatically push or destroy an enemy's reactions, now they have to make saves to even have it get off. And then they've got their quivering palm is no longer an instant kill. So
yeah. So overall, it's chill. It's chill. I'm okay with it. Since we're talking about the things that I'm privy to, though, I just gotta talk a little bit about my boy the Rogue.
Let's do it.
Because it's become ever more apparent to me. I always thought I was like the spellcaster player, right? Like when we first started playing, I was like, oh, I'm gonna be the wizard. I'm gonna be the sorcerer, the one who's like really good at magic. And every time I do that, I end up somehow making them a little more roguish. And
yep.
it's
Gallandon, your Blade Singer rogue multi-class.
Yeah, and it's only more apparent now to me that I think after reading this, rogue might like just trump whatever's there and just be my favorite class, because I was thinking like rogue and monk were starting to teeter between each other. After reading the new rogue stuff, I was like, man, I can only think of a million good ideas for this. Because so first of all, sneak attack no longer required to be used on your turn with the attack action, which I mean, what isn't that how it was before? Like when you use it off of your round, you can still get a sneak attack.
Yeah. So that's the 2014 Player's Handbook version. But in the last Unearthed Arcana that we saw on rogues, they actually made it so it had to be on your turn. But
Gotcha.
they removed that stipulation. So good to see. A lot of people hated that. So and I agree.
Yeah, weapon mastery, lit, love it. I like all the. It kind of reminds me of the Toma Heroes, like Kobold Press stuff, like where they added a bunch of abilities to the weapons. I like that weapons have unique abilities now. Maybe all of them aren't amazing, but yeah, I think it's cool.
Yeah, what I'll say about that is I do think it's interesting that the rogue is getting weapon mastery as well, because I know when this was first described, it seemed like it was focused on the martial classes. So in the last Unearthed Arcana, we got it only on fighters and barbarians. And now it's been extended to monks, rangers, paladins, rogues, and even war clerics get it as well. I can go either way. I think it's nice that to give all the martials some extra options. But I do think it's interesting that rogues also are getting to pull from this pool, just because they're not necessarily like a battle master fighter, right?
Right.
And some of these feel
now they
like
are,
yeah, exactly. So I'm just wondering if we give weapon mastery to all the martial classes, now does it seem less special? Is my only
I
thought.
think because like rogues can only specialize in certain things, right? Like they don't get martial weapon proficiency, right? So they can only be masters in simple weapons and finesse weapons.
That's true. Yeah. What they get. Let's see.
I don't think it takes
simple
away
weapons and martial weapons that have finesse. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it takes away a ton from the other classes if they're able to do some weapon mastery stuff. Especially what is it? One of the short sword or whatever does like the Nick feature.
I don't know if it's on short sword, but Nick is that's an awesome one, and it's on daggers. Let's see. So it has to be on a weapon with the light property. By default, daggers, light hammers, sickles.
Well, and in that vein, what's something we know about rogues? They have to hit their one attack. If they miss it, nothing happens. Well, in this case, maybe something kind of happens a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, and you know what? Actually, it looks like scimitars get it too. So good reason for a rogue to use a scimitar for the first time ever.
Yeah. As far as their subclass, now the levels match the 2014 Player's Handbook edition, which at first, when I found out they were kind of doing that, I was like, oh, are you kidding me? You just made all these cool changes, and now we're going back to the 2014 edition. But I understand it better after reading their explanation, because they're like, oh, that ensures compatibility with anything we don't have out yet. Yeah,
and I agree. I do think that's not a bad way to go about it, because people are going to be upset about all of the subclasses that don't make it into this Player's Handbook, especially like Soul Knife. I know is a really popular one.
Yeah,
some DMs might want to see that one go away, but our table likes it, and Phantom Rogue is awesome. Fucking Mastermind.
It lets you still use those kinds of things. It just makes me ever more curious on whether we're actually evolving D&D or whether we're just revising a couple of things, though. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. The game isn't really evolving that much if we're making everything perfectly compatible. Like, my justification to myself is like, if I wanted to roll up an old rogue, I'd just roll up an old rogue.
That's fair. And I know plenty of tables probably will stick with 5e long into whenever this new revised 2024 version comes out. But I am curious to see how everything will shake out because I'm not gonna lie. If we do start playing with the new rule set, we've already sort of stepped into, all right, well, let's use some homebrew options. I think we might start treating old 5e material like that as well. Like, hey, I really want to play a whatever subclass that doesn't exist anymore. Cavalier. I really want to be a Cavalier. Yeah,
and so I guess we'll see how it goes when we get there, because I honestly, half of me is of the mind that we keep using 5e because my next campaign that I have in mind that we've already talked about a little bit is most likely going to be under 5e. So,
yep.
Given that, we're probably still going to be playing 5e for quite a while, and I don't know how this whole backwards compatibility thing is going to work for that until we actually get it all. But I guess we'll just have to see. Something else I'm a big fan of, though, is the steady aim feature is now just a staple ability, which is great. Because
happy to see
I've seen far too many rogues, especially lately, just missing attacks and not getting to do anything. And giving them steady aim so their attack will have a lot more chance to hit makes me a lot happier for them.
Yeah, and I'm happy to see it return from Tasha's, and I know Drew would have really appreciated it on Eknon way back when we were playing Storm King's Thunder.
Yeah, one of my players is a rogue in my Everon campaign I'm running, and he misses all the time. And even if he does like a hide and shoot with sneak attack type deal,
that sucks.
Yeah, he still misses all the time, and it makes me so sad for him. And then my favorite ability that we get so far is Cunning Strike. So but on top of you getting extra damage through your sneak attack, you can use one of your D6s or multiple of your D6s, depending on the ability, sacrifice that damage in order to do a cool effect on top of it, which is so cool. Imagine you run up to the guy, you finally get your rapier attack off, and you stab him in just the right place. You take 1d6 of damage off, but he drops his sword in the process. Or like on the way over, you're like lathering your sword in poison just for your one attack. They're now poison. You can trip them, withdraw. It basically makes the rogue like partially like a battle master, which lets me turn rogue into far more of an anime character than I could have before.
Yeah, and I'll say I do like the idea of this feature, but I want to see them take what they've given us here and maybe send it back to the drawing board and see if we can't get a little bit more out of it, because what they're doing right now is, and I'm not sure if you've read through all the subclasses that they've got for Rogue, but they're taking Cunning Strike and they're making it like the key Rogue feature. Mm-hmm. So now you get an enhanced Cunning Strike. Later at 14th level, you get Devious Strikes, which adds the Daze, Knockout, and Obscure features, all of which they don't seem all that impressive. One of them, Daze, they have to make a con save or they have the Dazed condition. Knockout costs 6d6 from your sneak attack, and they must succeed on a con save or they have the unconscious condition for 1 minute. Or until it takes any damage, but then also they can repeat the save at the end of their turns, ending the effect on themselves. So I like the idea of knocking out a target, but I feel like it doesn't really work within this framework because you're going to be busting this out in the middle of combat, knocking someone out, and then they're just going to get right back up. I feel like the rogue's knockout has to be like a stealth kill from any video game, you know?
Yeah.
So they have to be surprised, and it has to be meet these other conditions, and then maybe it doesn't do any damage, the attack. Like this could just be a separate feature in and of itself, where they have to make that save, or whatever the case may be. But I don't think that works here. And then on the subclasses, except for the Arcane Trickster, which is better in every way. A lot of them seem to be using the strikes as part of their identity. So assassins, for example, at 13th level, when you use the poison option of your cunning strike, the target also takes 2d6 poison damage. And so that's one of their prime features now. And then swashbuckler, I love the idea of the swashbuckler being like the battle master for rogues, right? They've got these different tactical options. You know, they're using their environment in the middle of combat, fighting on tables, swinging from chandeliers. Like that's the sort of way I imagine a swashbuckler fights. So they get extra versions of cunning strike, but they're all, I don't know, they're just not singing to me compared to the features that we already had for the swashbuckler, which I think the swashbuckler was a pretty good subclass before, but now they've got their panache is now that they can goad, so the target must succeed on a wisdom save, or it has disadvantage on attack rolls against other targets than you. Let's see, awe. Each creature of choice within 30 feet of you must succeed on a wisdom save, or they're charmed by you until the end of your next turn. That's kind of cute. And then parrying stance at 13th level, they get more options just for cunning strike. So all of the things that the swashbuckler gets are sort of revolving around this cunning strike. Invigorate. Choose a creature you can see within 30 feet of you until the end of that creature's next turn. When it makes an attack or saving throw, it can roll a d6 and add the number. So they get to do bardic inspiration for cost of their cunning strike.
Yeah, the one thing that sucks about that is they are sacrificing damage for this. So
yeah, exactly.
If every single ability is sacrificing damage, you're taking away the one big thing the rogue is known for, which is its nukes.
Right, exactly. And so what's ultimately going to end up happening is we've got all these options that we can use, but we're not going to go for any of them because they're not optimal, right?
Yeah.
Sacrificing 2d6 of damage just to use a bardic inspiration, that's a really shitty 13th level feature, you know?
Yeah.
And then thieves also get the same thing. They get a stealth attack at 9th level. If you have the hide action's invisible condition, the attack doesn't end that condition on you. So it's like the skulker feat. But that costs a d6 from your sneak attack. So I like where they're going with this. I like that it's risk versus reward in spending some of your sneak attack to do other things, but these other effects have to be much more enticing.
Yeah, like the way I'm reading it right now is very much like the reason I'm excited is not because I think any of it is like at its perfect iteration. I like the idea of it.
Yeah, I think the idea is awesome, and especially poison. That it's just one of the ones that come out of the box at 5th level.
Yeah.
That's perfect for a rogue. I love it.
I'm even okay with it being a more set, like, you know how Monk gets its little set of key abilities at the beginning? Like, it's the Flurry of Blows, the Step of the Winds, and the, what is it? The parry or whatever, the patient defense. So it gets those three things. I'm even okay with just having a small set of those at the beginning for the rogue, and then if you want a ton more, like, take, like, a swashbuckler or the martial one. But, like, let the rogue keep its staple abilities, and if you want to subtract 1d6 every now and then to disarm the guy who's holding the thing you need, that's fine.
Right. I mean, I think that the idea behind this mechanic is awesome. Like, you sacrifice some of your d6s from your sneak attack to achieve that cost, but nowhere else are you losing damage for these effects. Like, the Battle Master gets this shit, and they add a d8. To their attack and do the extra thing. It doesn't feel good to take away your d6.
So it's giving the rogue a point system.
Right, exactly. So I really think that they've just over-engineered this, where if they would have just swallowed their pride and said, okay, well, let's just keep the subclass feature at 6th level like we did in the the old UA that had the rogues.
Yeah.
I think everything would be a lot simpler and play a lot nicer, because also I'm not a huge fan of the thief that they're showing here. The thief from the previous iteration was awesome.
Yeah,
this one is less so. The assassin finally looks pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie, because they've done away with
feature.
Well, yeah. So I love how it works now, because you no longer have to be surprised to do the assassinate, but it just doesn't. It's not an auto crit. at first. But then at 17th level, you get your Death Strike, which essentially is the auto crit, and they don't have to be surprised.
Yeah, but no one gets to 17th level unless you commit that long.
Sure, but an automatic crit at 3rd level is a disgustingly overpowered feature in the first place, and had no business being in the 2014 player's handbook.
Yeah,
as far as I'm
I
concerned.
agree. Yeah, it's very powerful. My thing is, I like I've seen it used to good effect in at tables before, like when in podcasts and stuff I've listened to, because I've seen the rogue goes off to one part of the base while the rest of the party is trying to they're either waiting or they're trying to figure out what to do next. The rogue goes off and they clear out a couple of places, get some info, bring it back, and they're like, okay, I know what we need to do next. I like the idea of the rogue being able to take that solo mission if they'd like to, and use their assassinate to good effect like that, because that's really the only time it's going off, right? It's not going off after you've rolled initiative.
That's fair.
So it's going off outside of combat whenever you're sneaking around doing your own thing. I would never see an assassinate auto crit going off on the red dragon that you're trying to kill.
Yeah, and I do think that works for certain types of games at certain tables. But what it also does is encourage players to have that protagonist mindset where,
right.
Oh, well, I'm just going to go off and do this because if I don't have you fuckers weighing me down, then I can auto crit everyone that I run into,
right?
And kill them instantly, which it's just not a fun mindset to be in. So unless we're doing Keys from the Golden Vault, where it's like a heist and everyone's got their specialty or whatever, and this is all agreed upon by the group, then it's situational to where that could be cool. But to your point, I do love the flavor of the original Assassinate. I think it just needed some work to play nice with a standard adventuring day,
Yeah, and then so for the new stuff, I do appreciate how they've done it, because it's okay, if I'm getting to go first, now I'm actually getting to do a good bit of I'm getting an extra ability out of it. That's cool. I like it. I don't know if I like it more.
That's fair. And I will say the Envenom weapons thing is cool. At 13th level,
yes,
because it actually that's the one case where the Cunning Strike finally you get an extra effect and it does more damage than before.
Yeah,
because you're sacrificing 1d6 from your sneak attack, but you're getting 2d6 of poison on top of the con save they have to make.
Yeah,
so that's awesome, and it makes sense for the assassin to do that. I mean, in the 2014 Player's Handbook, they had their whole they get proficiency with a poisoner's kit, but they never use that. So it's cool that they finally get to do something with it.
Yeah, I do like that, because it kind of reminds me of, you remember Eknon's bow that he had, and he would do 2d6 poison damage if he used part of his vial from the Wyvern.
Uh-huh.
That was always something I liked a whole lot. That I never see any characters using consumables and stuff like that. I feel like if you add that into your character, hey, I have Venom, I can use my weapons, they probably don't have an infinite amount, so having the rogue flavor that, I just like the flavor of it. What I'm trying to say.
Absolutely. Same. Any other thoughts? I do think it's interesting the subclasses they've decided to go with for the rogue.
Yeah, I don't have any particular other thoughts. I think mostly I'm just it could use some reworking, but I like the direction we're going in. But yeah, I would need to see some reworking to like it more than what we already just currently play as. Yeah,
that's fair. Other things that have changed in this Unearthed Arcana that I'd love to hear your thoughts on. The Druid has been completely reworked from the last time we've seen them. So now this version of the Druid is much more akin to the 2014 Player's Handbook version, with some weird caveats. So we're not going to go super deep here, but essentially they've changed the channel nature feature that was added as sort of like an analog to channel divinity.
Okay.
For the Druid to have. They've done away with that. It's now back to wild shape. But wild shape it's like the 2014 version if you removed everything that people loved about it. So the way that it works now is you've got a number of forms that you know. So at second level, when you get your wild shape feature, you know 3 animal forms that you can take. And they can have a swim speed at second level, so that's cool. But you have to wait until 8th to get your fly speed, and every time you transform, your hit points do not change. So you still use your same hit point maximum of your druid character, and if you drop to 0, you drop to 0. You just transform back into your body, and now you're down. So no extra hit points from that, and then I believe on a long rest you can whenever you finish a long rest you can replace one of your known forms with another eligible form. At 8th level you cap at 5 known forms, so you can't possibly have more than that. But really the thing that stinks, and I'm not a big fan of, is the fact that you don't get those extra hit points, and the only way that you do is if you go Circle of the Moon. You do get your combat wild shape, which gives you temporary hit points, but it's still nowhere near the amount that you were getting before. So the way that it works is when you assume a wild shape form, you gain a number of temporary hit points equal to the form's hit points or 3 times your druid level, whichever is lower. So at 3rd level, you can transform into a wolf, for example. They typically have 11 hit points, but since 3 times your druid level is 9, you only get 9 temporary hit points.
Yeah, I don't know. So I'm of 2 minds about it, because druid in general in my mind has always been more of a spellcaster. I know that, yes, the wild shape and like using that, especially at low level, was always like a big buff to your team, right? Like that was nice, especially in like the 2 to 5 range when you're transforming into animals and stuff, and you are using those stat blocks. That was always super helpful because you felt like you could add a lot to combat. In my mind, I always played druid like it was a spellcaster, so this doesn't feel like a giant hit to the way I would play druid. But that's a big debuff to anybody who sees the druid as more of a martial, like on top of the enemy, changing into a bear and taking swipes at him type of class.
Yeah, it doesn't seem as cool as it was before, but there are some things that this druid has going for it. So first of all, they did make them so they took away the channel nature thing, but they have made them even more like clerics. So something that they've done for the clerics in the recent Arnold Arcana, and then in this version as well, they've got their, I believe it was called their Holy Order before, now it's called their Divine Order, but it basically lets you decide if you want heavy weapons proficiency and martial weapons, or if you want an extra cantrip and some it was a benefit to your like intelligence checks for certain skills, basically. So the way that it works for clerics is still the same. You can get a bonus to your religion checks equal to your wisdom mod, basically. For druids now, they've got something called their primal order. So you can either be a magician or a warden. If you're a magician, you get 1 extra primal spell cantrip, and you get a bonus to your nature checks.
Why did they call
equal to your wisdom.
Sorry. Why did they call it that?
Magician?
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know. These
it's just like your magic.
Up, man. I'm not against the mechanics of them, but druid's not a magician. Just don't call it that. Call it else.
For the cleric, they call it the thaumaturge.
I'm okay with that. That's a little more fantasy D&D sounding, but all I can think of now is the guy who like. It's like a guy in a wolf mask or something like that. Is all I can imagine. Like,
I didn't think of it like that. When I think about a magician in like Dungeons and Dragons, they're just a practitioner of magic. Like, I mean, obviously there are stage magicians, right?
No, I get it, but
that wouldn't be impressive if you live in a fantasy world. I mean, that was a character I made for when we did Dragon Heist that one time. I was like just a real-ass clown magician, basically.
I'm even into the idea of, like, just call them different kinds of, like, mages or whatever. Like, like a green mage or a red mage or whatever from fucking Final Fantasy. Just call them, like, the green mage.
That could be. Yeah, instead of magician, call it green mage.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, that is kind of lame, too. I'm not going to lie. But, I don't know. Magician, go back to the drawing board.
In any case, so that's the one feature. Or you can choose Warden, which gives you martial weapon proficiency. So now druids can get access to all martial weapons and medium armor proficiency.
Hey, Warden's a good
which, yeah, Warden is cool. But here's the thing that trips me up about that. There is nowhere in this version of the druid that says that they can't wear armor made of metal. So this version of the druid that they're presenting here could be rocking a great sword and half plate armor at level 1, if the DM allows, and and they're basically just a reflavored ranger at that point.
Yeah, I mean, you could do that. I wouldn't, but you could.
Yeah, so I don't know how I feel about it. That's pretty much all they get at first level too. So they get they get druidic, of course, which now allows them to always have speak with animals prepared. And they get their spellcasting and their primal order, but that's it.
Okay. Wowie zowie. So magician, no. Warden, yes. I do like the idea, and also it is weird that they're taking away the armor thing. Like how they always had to have like organic armor, basically. They couldn't have like metal armor. I never really comprehended it or understood it before, so I don't care if a druid can wear regular armor. I probably, if one of you guys were a druid and you told me you had chainmail on, I probably wouldn't have even realized it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So to be fair, I will agree that it's sort of like an arbitrary distinction. That in older editions, it was like a religious, spiritual thing. Like they won't wear metal because that's it's against nature to to create industry, right? Yeah. But I don't know. I don't know how I feel about taking away that stipulation, because it removes some of the druid's personal flavor. It's sort of like saying monks can wear armor now.
Yeah, exactly. I think in my mind the monk doesn't wear armor because it's he needs to be able to move faster. Or like concentrate
that's
better.
fair.
But for the druid, I feel like it was more of a religious thing, like an ideal before, and now since we're going towards a direction where things are just more like, hey, make the druid you want to make, it makes sense to allow them to do that if they want to. You're not going to break the game by letting the druid wear it.
Yeah, I guess you could. There's nothing super wrong about flavoring your druid more like a ranger if you want to, either. So I guess that's fine. But anyway, just something that's been on my mind since I saw this. Other than that, the other thing that they get that's very similar to clerics is now at 7th level, which is the same level that clerics get it in this version as well. They get their elemental fury, which is just like their blessed strikes or divine strike or whatever it was called originally. So you can either choose potent spell casting or primal strike. So you can either add your wisdom mod to any damage you deal with a primal cantrip, or you can add a d8 of cold, fire, lightning, or thunder damage on one attack roll you hit using a weapon or with your beast forms attack. So that's something that all druids get now, not just like a moon druid or anything. So you can make a feasible wild shape attack now as any druid, which I kind of like this being here.
Yeah, no, I like being able to standardize those kinds of things, because anytime you would transform into something that's very good utility-wise, you're like, okay, but once I got to go into combat, I got to change out of this thing. No way I'm going around as this thing forever. So the thought of having a standardized attack, that's good. I like it.
Yeah, I'm not super against it. The one thing that I do really miss from the previous edition, so I'm okay if we take away the standardized animal forms. Like they had a beast of the land, beast of the sea, beast of the sky in the previous version that the druid turns into for their wild shape. I can live without that. But the one thing that I do miss is they had this really cool form, and I forget, or feature, and I forget exactly what it was called, but it basically allows you to swap between your wild shape and regular form freely at certain levels. So you can use a bonus action to go back into your human form, and then on the next turn, use a bonus action to go back into your animal form without expending an additional wild shape.
Right.
Like while you've got that up, so you can pop in and cast a spell and then change back and do that sort of thing. That is awesome, and that's entirely missing here. So I'd like to see a return to that if we can.
Yeah, just, I don't know. The vibe I'm getting from playtest 6 right now is we got a lot of cool ideas in the old playtests, right? From all of these different classes. And I felt like for most of them, I was relatively more excited about it than I was like negative on it. I feel like as we like get further and further along and start to get down to the nitty gritty of, okay, what are we just like, now that we've got these gigantic ones with so much content in them, I'm starting to like a lot of stuff less.
Yeah, well, it's just less exciting. It seems like a lot of the direction that they've taken with this particular Unearthed Arcana is, all right, let's take some of the big ideas that everyone liked, like weapon mastery and fixing the fucking spell progression so that now I don't know if you noticed this, but now they don't have you prepare spells based on your spell slots. It's separate again.
Yeah.
Which is nice. But then let's mostly return to the 2014 Player's Handbook with just like the couple modifications that we feel the need to change. So the subclasses all starting at 3rd level, that's still here, and then most of the little bits and pieces from a lot of the classes they still they haven't budged on. But yeah, generally this one isn't as exciting when you look at things that aren't the monk.
And that just makes me feel like, I don't know, am I going to play this, Zach? Am I going to play I'm wondering when
You might.
Whenever the final comes out. I think the Bard is cool. Don't get me wrong. I did read through some of the Bard. I think a lot of what
Did you look at their subclasses?
No, I did not look at the subclasses. The College of Dance, sure.
No, so I absolutely hate the College of Dance.
Okay, before we get into but their capstone feature, pretty cool. You just have power word, heal, and kill on you, which is chill, I guess.
Yeah, that's cool.
You should feel like a god, so go for it. And overall, I'm like, okay, cool. I like some of these revised things, but man, if they're not going to change it, why am I going to change? Why am I going to play the same thing but slightly different?
Right, why am I going to drop $60 on just the new Player's Handbook and then another $60 on the new DMG and another $60 on the new Monster Manual?
Right. It's not even about like the money for me. I'm down to buy books if they're good books.
Right.
But like overall, I'm like, well, what I kind of want is like if you're going to change so much stuff, then change stuff or like use some creative new ideas. I get we're playtesting it and everything, but I want some cool new ideas. And what I'm saying is, do I just want to play a different game? or because I love D&D as it is. Like I've already been playing it for a long time. I love D&D as it is. This is a lot of stuff where I'm like, I want you to take what I have and make it a little bit like, not necessarily more powerful, but creative and better, like if we're going to be standardizing it. And here, they've taken away a lot of my favorite things.
Yeah. I'll withhold judgment until we have a finished product on whether or not we want to jump to the new version of 5e or One D&D or whatever they're gonna get. I hope they don't land on the 24 Player's Handbook, because that's just confusing as fuck. But
for real.
But whatever it's called, I'll withhold judgment until we have the final product. But there are some signs that I'm gonna be less satisfied with this version than the one we had previously. Especially so some of these new subclasses that they've introduced. The Druid has one too, which it's brand new. It's called the Circle of the Sea.
Yeah.
Which I'm not a huge fan of this one. It seems more like a Circle of Storms, which I think they could make this work, but it's not. It's just not grabbing me in the right way. They've got like a feature where they can make one creature at the end of each of their turns with no action or bonus action required. They can make them make a Constitution save or take some thunder damage and be pushed. And then they get a swim speed and water breathing. They can fly at a certain point.
Okay.
They get resistance to cold, lightning, and thunder damage. and then they can give their little feature that does damage over time. They can give it to one of their friends too, and have them both do it at the same time. Yeah, I don't know. I wish Circle of Spores were here, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Because the other options that they have been pulling from Tasha's, I think, are actually pretty cool. They have Circle of Stars as well, which is just the Tasha's version for now.
Yeah, I'm just not excited about those changes. I'm not excited about it. That's what I don't think any of it's like inherently bad. That's like, to be fair, but I'm not picturing like cool moments about what my druid's going to be doing in my head, you know?
Sure, yeah. Well, and I think it's an issue of iconography, right?
Yeah.
We don't have like pictures to sort of associate with some of these new options, and the iconic druid in my mind, that they're wearing light armor or fur armor or whatever. And they've got sort of this specific way about them. I think this version of the druid sort of muddies what the fantasy is that we're getting from this particular kind of character. So I want to see them go back to the drawing board and give us something more distinct. So in that same vein of sort of muddying the fantasy, that's really why I don't like the College of Dance that they've introduced for the bard. And really all this does, I'm not sure if you've looked at it too closely, but they basically just become monks.
Oh, really?
At third level, they get unarmored defense, which is their dex plus their charisma, plus 10. So that's their new AC becomes that. They don't need to wear armor. And then when they expend a use of their bardic inspiration as a part of an action, a bonus action or a reaction, you can make one unarmed strike as a part of that action. And then additionally, your unarmed strikes equal it's equal to your bardic inspiration die. So as that levels up, your unarmed strikes get more powerful. They get inspiring movement, which is kind of neat. They can, if an enemy ends its turn within 5 feet of an ally of yours, you can use your reaction to expend a bardic inspiration and move up to half your speed. And then the ally can move a number of feet equal to 5 times whatever you roll on your bardic inspiration. That's kind of neat. Like you sort of lead the dance and maneuver them out of the way. That's a cool feature. But then at 6th level, and first of all, that's everything they just got at 3rd level.
Yeah,
so that's a lot right there.
I'm looking through it right now. It's freaking crazy.
Yeah, at 6th level, they get evasion. And not only that, but they can give it to their friends. This is earlier than the rogue or monk gets evasion.
So, all in for the Guardians of the Galaxy, we backflip out of a fireball type thing. But,
of course,
6th level, and you just share it with your friend. Evasion, I've already been touting forever as like probably what I think to be one of the craziest abilities in the game, because it means you can just take the recharge ability of a blue dragon, like of an ancient blue dragon, and not take anything from it.
Yeah, exactly. And what you're doing is, instead of, usually the tactic is, all right, well, let's make sure we all split up, so we're not, the dragon has to pick which one of us to breath weapon. No, now it's everyone stand within 5 feet of the bard. Yeah, and I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I'm gonna break dance, and we're all gonna be unharmed.
Your bard now is Reinhardt from freaking Overwatch, and he just throws a shield down whenever he wants.
Yeah, so this is a cool feature, but it definitely doesn't belong at 6th level.
It belongs somewhere else in total.
Yeah, I really don't think it belongs on a bard.
No, that's what I'm saying. It belongs somewhere else. Like, I think it belongs on a paladin.
Absolutely. That would be fucking awesome.
A paladin has like a shield ability or something, or like a channel divinity that allows them to shield all of their friends from a saving throw like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think Tome of Heroes had something similar, but like an Oath of the Defender.
Yeah, literally.
That'd be awesome.
I mean, and if this was their like 13th level ability, I'd be like, hell fucking yeah.
Yeah, but not at 6th level on a bard.
No.
And then in addition, they get another feature. They get their tandem footwork, which, just an extra feature at 6th level. And then at 14th level, they get Otto's Irresistible Dance.
Yeah, they just have it.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to say is that this bard is bad, and they could really look at any of the other bard subclasses that they've got out currently and slot it in instead.
And come up with something crazy and new and totally out of character for what we normally have our bards as. why don't we just make the stuff that we've already made a little bit more streamlined?
Yeah, and so in general, I'm a little underwhelmed with the bard. I mean, so that's only about the subclasses, but I don't know if you've looked, but they now can pick at first level whether they're using the arcane, divine, or primal spell list, and that's the one that they have for the rest of their career. So they get to choose
later on
at the
they
start.
get all of them.
Yeah, and then at 10th level, their magical secrets, instead of picking one spell from a different spell list, they get access to all 3 now.
So,
and then College of Lore gets kind of shafted because at 6th level, they get access to, 2 spells from the other lists. But then at 10th level, they get access to all of them. So why do we even have that anymore?
Yeah, so I do like that the bard can kind of be in whatever line that it wants to, because I do see the bard as the jack of all trades, you know?
Sure.
So they're not going to do anything that the other classes can do as well as those classes, but they are the one who, like, okay, this bard has been traveling, like, this is a bard who's been traveling with a druidic tribe forever, and they are more in tune with their magic than they are with typical arcane magic. Cool. Or
they like singing songs about nature.
Yeah, they like singing songs about nature. They can tell...
They've got their muse.
They've heard so many myths about, like, ancient beings, and they want to do... They want to go off the arcane spell list and take some warlock spells, right? All of that kind of stuff, I'm not opposed to at all. But yeah, it does step on the toes of subclasses like College of Lore. College of Dance, I again, the thought of a College of Dance, love it. I like a College of Dance.
Sure.
But not whenever it's just makes your bard another class.
Right. So
and
I think that they need to go back to the drawing board.
3-4 years into it, where you come out with a College of Dance and you're like, hey, we've heard some people want something like this. We're going to make it and put it out. That's fine. When, like, in Atasha's 5 years down the line.
Sure.
But in your player's handbook, it's one of your, like, staple options for your new edition.
Yeah, and not only that, but it's the first one listed, because alphabetically, that's just how it works out.
Yeah, so the first thing people are reading is College of Dance. My bard is punching and hitting people, and also evasion.
Yeah. So I really want them to go back to the drawing board with that. Also, College of Valor is just one of my least favorite bard subclasses ever since Xanathar's, because of course the College of Swords is way cooler.
Yeah.
They haven't done anything to make it stand out. It's almost unchanged in this edition. So really, I want them to take a good long look at the bard and see what they can do. Personally, I don't really even like they get to choose their spell list. I think Magical Secrets is an awesome feature because it's valuable because you get it at higher levels.
Yeah.
But the bard has like their curated spell list for this is what a bard does. I feel like, especially for new players, giving them all those options, they're going to be like, what the fuck does this mean? What is a bard? Like, you haven't explained that to me, so I don't get what I'm supposed to be picking here.
I'm more inclined to believe you that I would rather them get different, like, iterations of Magical Secrets. Like I said, I like the thought of me, someone who knows the game very well, being able to experiment with that.
Sure.
But yeah, for the fact of someone coming in, or someone who hasn't played a bard before, getting them... Instead, making it so they get Magical Secrets, and they get to, like, put a little dip into another class, as if they took, like, one of the other class feats, right? Like, if you wanted to take you have been hanging out at a church a lot lately. There's a lot of stuff going on there, and you want to learn some healing magic. Now you take your Magical Secrets and you learn 2 healing spells. That's awesome. But most you are focused on the arcane, which I think I like a little bit better than what I said earlier.
Yeah. In any case, we're running close to it an hour. So just final thoughts about the classes we haven't touched on yet. Clerics in general, I think this is a very strong version of the cleric. They have completely redone how divine intervention works. So now it's no longer a random chance thing. It's just as a magic action at 10th level. This is how divine intervention works. You can choose a divine spell of 5th level or lower that doesn't require a reaction to cast, and as a part of that action, you cast the spell. And then you can only do this once per long rest.
No, 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 no. I want God to come down and help me.
Yeah, so that's how it works. So it works every single time. Every time you want to do divine intervention, you get a 5th level spell for free.
Oh, you know what I say to that? Fine.
Yeah, I mean, you could use it to conjure celestial, or do something like that. That's what I'm imagining from divine intervention most of the time. Anyway, is like an angel comes down to help.
But
so
do you remember when Alien X helped you fight Asmodeus?
Exactly. I mean that's the thing. It's not special if it happens every time I ask.
Yeah.
Like if I say, "Hey God, can you send some help?" He's like, "Yeah, sure thing." No, we have to pray and petition the dice gods to let it happen.
Yeah.
Like it's a divine thing that happens in the real world because it's so difficult, or it's such a low chance.
Yeah. No, that's one of my craziest moments whenever you guys were at your magic school fighting against a aspect of Asmodeus, like a giant golden golem of him or whatever. No, it was the president guy of the school.
The dean of students.
The dean of students, who had been transformed into a form of Asmodeus, and you guys petitioned to God to come help you, and it was so cool. It was a good moment. It made the boss fight a little bit easier for you, and it saved the life of the dean of students. Great, that was awesome.
Exactly. Yeah, and so I really don't like that change. But other than that, generally speaking, I do like this version of the cleric. Also at 20th level, they get greater divine intervention, and the way that works now is unlike the previous edition. Now, when you use divine intervention, you can just use wish. And so when you do, you can't use divine intervention again for another 2d4 days, but you get no negative impacts from the wish spell. So you ask your god to do what you want, and they say, yep, and then it happens.
Okay.
It's cool, but I'd rather have the random chance aspect of the original version, and then of course, at the higher level, you can get it to happen anytime, but it's still it's both less and more powerful than a wish spell,
Yes.
because it's whatever the DM wants to interpret from your request,
Right.
If you say it's a wish spell, then it works like a wish spell, and we have rules that that sort of break it all down for you in the wish spell.
Yeah.
I like the mystique of it.
Yeah, I did too. It makes the DM's job harder, but I've always liked things like that where, oh, you just threw this random thing on me? Okay. So everything else though is pretty chill.
Yeah, and they've got their blessed strikes and potent spellcasting they get to choose between. That's cool. All of their subclasses, I'd encourage you to take a look. They're all of the cleric subclass options they've presented are the ones I would have picked for the top 4, and they've all gotten a pretty decent boost, except for the life cleric, which is worse now. But hopefully they'll walk that back. Basically, the only thing they ruined was their preserve life channel divinity. Now it doesn't work any way like it did before. Okay. If you have a pool of hit points to divvy out amongst creatures below 50 hit points, now you can use a channel divinity to cast a spell instead of a spell slot. Whoop-de-doo.
Sure.
But going away from cleric, the others that we haven't talked about, ranger, I don't have too much to talk about. They're decidedly better in this version,
which is
I
good.
encourage you to take a look. Yeah, no, I really like this version of the ranger that they've got. They've even the couple problems I had with the hunter before have been fixed, so now they've got their different options they can pick from again, but they're better. And let's see, they've got the Gloomstalker, Hunter, Beast Master, and Fey Wanderer is the other subclass that they decided to pick, which I thought you'd like, since that's the one from Tasha's you really you vibed with.
Yeah.
But yeah, nothing else on them. And then Paladins, we could really do another whole hour of me just ranting about why I don't like the changes to Paladins. But they haven't broken anything really from the last iteration, except Divine Smites are even more limiting now. And so Divine Smite itself is a spell, and it uses a bonus action to cast it when you make an attack. And it's the same for all of the other Smite spells. which effectively means you can't cast another spell when you Divine Smite on your turn, which kind of sucks. But they do get Weapon Mastery now.
And does the Divine Smite stick around until you hit an attack?
No, so they have fixed all the Smite spells. So they're no longer concentration, and they stick around until you make an attack. Now it's you use a bonus action when you make the attack. So you can't Divine Smite not on your turn, but when you make an attack on your turn, you can use the Divine Smite when the attack hits to get off that extra damage, and it doesn't interrupt your concentration on other spells, which is that is a plus.
Yeah, I don't hate it, but I also the Paladin to me is the superhero with the one-hit kill.
Yeah, and they definitely can't do that. They're a whole lot weaker now, and they removed ranged attacks from the Divine Smite as well, which I'm okay with it. It still works on unarmed strikes. Yeah. But yeah, just let me smite more than once in a turn is really what I'm saying. I need it, or at least let me cast other spells when I'm smiting on the same turn. I feel like they have not pulled off the brakes, or they have not applied the brakes on these changes to Divine Smite that I am not a fan of. So other than that, I do like the options they presented. They've got Oath of Devotion, Oath of Glory is the new one they decided to go with, and then we've got Ancients and Vengeance from before as well, mostly unchanged. But yeah, that's the changes in a nutshell. Any closing thoughts?
Yeah, I was gonna say closing thoughts here. I am very underwhelmed with my excitement. Now, whenever the first changes started coming out for One D&D and all of that, I had a lot of excitement. Obviously, we had the whole open D&D thing happen, and so a lot of people got like their rose-colored glasses just all of a sudden turned clear. And now coming into this, I'm looking at it just extremely critically, where like I read through it and I'm like, okay, but I'll probably just keep playing 5th edition right now. I'm not thinking about like, oh man, maybe we should try and implement this now. When the first ones were coming out, I was like, man, I'd really like to try implementing this exhaustion thing, or maybe this way that they do death saves, or maybe this way they do this. I was thinking about that a lot, but right now I'm like, okay, this doesn't entice me to, this doesn't get my creative juices flowing. This doesn't make me want to add anything into my current game.
Which, you know, I will withhold judgment until the final iteration.
Exactly.
And
like,
then
maybe
and
I
then,
will get excited for the last one.
Yeah, if anything, I do hope that they take back the change that they've done here, removing epic boons from 20th level, because that was something that I've been super excited about for the previous iterations of this, and I would like to see that return. So currently, all of the epic boon feats that they have offered here, they're just like regular epic boons from the DMG. They're like, your DM can give them to you at 20th level if they want to.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's it's just not as exciting in this iteration. But I think that they've got some good momentum going. And when we finally see the return of the other classes as well, Warlocks, I'm looking at you, interested to see what you've got. We'll have more to say. But yeah, I'm still hopeful that this will turn into a good product. And Weapon Mastery alone is still a pretty awesome feature. I'm really dying to to get to use that at some point on a fighter. So we'll see how that goes. But anyway, thank you so much for listening to Table Talk Friday, a D&D podcast. You can find us on Patreon at Table Talk Friday, on Twitter at Table Talk Friday, where we're definitely posting all the time. Don't believe the lies. We're definitely posting on Twitter and anywhere else, your social media platforms, YouTube and etc. If you'd like to support the show, consider supporting us on Patreon, where Good Old Gamer has been our top supporter for a long time now. And if you'd like to be mentioned on the show as well, we do have the producer Eric tier for you there. And now I'm going to pass off the rest of this outro to Seth so that someone can take us out.
That's right,
hopefully.
because I need Autoluke, the monkish bard, to take me out.
Oh, you want Autoluke to take you out? Well, no one's ever asked me out before. I do know a lovely Italian restaurant where we could go. So I believe it is called the Olive Garden. So I suppose that is where we will be going. So I do appreciate that that you've asked me out, and maybe when we get there or on the car ride along the way, I might sing a little ditty for you. So look forward to that, and please look forward to the next episode of Table Talk Friday too, because that's ultimately what this is about. Anyway, have a good night.